You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show.
Saturday Morning Theatre proudly presents The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician! Young Toby Taylor is known worldwide as the Fruit Magician, a master illusionist who can perform feats of astonishing prestidigitation. Toby Taylor eschews the traditional tools of the trade, such as playing cards, rabbits, blinking rings, preferring to use only the freshest of fruit in his act. Toby has another talent as well, solving mysteries. With his lovely assistant and devoted sister Rebecca Taylor at his side, there is no mystery that can't be cracked by Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician! Today's episode, The Haunted Department Store, Chapter 5. If you've been following our story, you know that Toby Taylor and his sister Rebecca had been posing as employees at Filker's department store in order to investigate the mysterious sightings of the ghost of Filker Richardson, the store's founder. Last time, while investigating a mysterious secret passage, Rebecca had disappeared, and Toby announced to store owner Mrs. Richardson and the night watchman John Gilmore that he was ready to point the finger of blame at Thomas Lockwood, the owner of the bank that held the store's mortgage. Luckily for Toby, Mr. Lockwood had just arrived at the store with the police in tow.
Mr. Lockwood, how nice of you to join us, and how fortuitous that you brought the police along with you. It'll make it easier for them to arrest you.
Arrest me? But why?
Because you are responsible for the hauntings here at Filker's and, more importantly, the kidnapping of my sister, Rebecca.
What? Tom, is that true?
Absolutely not, Betty.
I'm afraid it is, Mrs. Richardson.
I'd like to know what proof you have of that.
Yeah, me too.
Of course. Mr. Gilmore, you were there when we all met Mr. Lockwood earlier tonight, weren't you?
You know I was.
Yes. Do you remember Mr. Lockwood remarking about how beautiful this building was and how much he wished his great-grandfather had purchased it instead of the one the bank is currently in?
By Jove, you're right.
Oh, come on. That doesn't make me guilty of anything other than building envy.
Well, perhaps not, but your bank holds the deed to this building, does it not?
Yes, it does.
And if Filker's goes out of business, your bank will assume control of the building, won't it?
Yes, it will.
So you came up with a plan to make it seem as if a ghost was haunting Filker's. You used this secret passage over here in order to come into the store dressed as Filker Richardson to scare away the employees and, in turn, customers, forcing the store to close so that you can take it over. But when Rebecca and I stumbled onto this old secret passageway that leads directly to your bank, you kidnapped Rebecca in order to frighten me off.
A very interesting fairy tale, but like all fairy tales, completely untrue. I didn't dress up as a ghost, and I didn't kidnap your sister. But I find it interesting that you were in the secret passageway that leads from the store to my bank.
Oh, why's that?
Because tonight there was a break-in at my bank. That's why the police are with me. Many important files were stolen, and the funny thing is we couldn't find where the thief got into the bank. We came to ask Betty if she'd seen anything suspicious. But now that you've just admitted you were in that passageway, the police can arrest you for robbing my bank.
I was in the passageway, but I didn't steal anything.
He's right.
Rebecca?
Toby didn't steal anything from the bank. But Mr. Lockwood is also right. He's not the ghost of Filker Richardson.
Rebecca, how do you know all this? What happened to you? Where did you run off to?
I didn't run off anywhere. I was clobbered on the back of the head and dragged off.
What?
Yes, I was right behind you as you opened the doorway at the end of that mysterious passage. And the moment you poked your head in, I was clonked on the head.
Dear me.
The next thing I knew, I was waking up in a small dark space. My hands and feet were tied, and I had a handkerchief in my mouth so I couldn't scream.
Well, but how did you get back here?
Well, whoever hit me on the head and bound me up obviously doesn't know I'm well-versed in escaping from being bound thanks to many, many years in magic. In no matter of time, I was unbound, and upon exploring where I was being held, found a door, opened it, and realized I'd been shoved into a large wardrobe. And you'll never guess what else was in there. All these deeds from First National Savings and Loan, including the deed from the store, and this dusty old suit and mask of Filker Richardson. And on top of all of that, there's a door in the back of the wardrobe that leads out into the secret passageway we were in.
Wait, wardrobe? You mean like...
An armoire.
An armoire? Well, that means that the ghost of Filka Richardson is Mrs. Richardson?
Of course it was me.
But why would you be haunting your own store?
Because the store had been losing money since long before I donned the guise of the ghost of Filka Richardson. I knew we'd lose the building. So when I discovered the secret passage that led to the bank, I devised a plan to sneak into the bank and steal the deed. It took me a while to find out where they kept it, so I needed to make sure none of my employees saw me go into the secret passage.
So you dressed as the ghost of Filka Richardson to scare them off?
Yes.
Why would you ask us to come investigate the haunting if you knew it was you doing the haunting?
As alibis, to confirm I was in my office at the time of the robbery. But then you discovered the passageway, so I had to take out Rebecca in the hopes of scaring you off for the night.
Your great-grandfather would be so disappointed. I always knew you could never fill his shoes.
Officers, I think we have enough evidence to make an arrest.
Come with us, ma'am. Well, I guess that takes care of that mystery. I'm so glad you're okay, sis.
I'm glad I learned how to get out of any knot.
Say, you think we should put in an offer on that armoire with the door on the back? Might be fun to add to the act.
Are you kidding? I never want to see the inside of that thing again.
Okay. Let's get back to the theater.
And so concludes this chapter. Stay tuned for even more tales of the mysterious mysteries of Toby Taylor, Fruit Magician.
This episode of The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician, starred Molly Fite as Rebecca Taylor, Patrick Bristow as Gilmore, the security guard, Jayne Entwistle as Mrs. Richardson, Michael Oosterom as Thomas Lockwood, Grant Baciocco as Toby Taylor, and Kevin Berntson as the narrator. Music for this episode by Dan Ring. The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician is a production of Saturday Morning Media and made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Huge thanks to Shay Stewart, Merle Lafferty, Jeff Peterson, Dale Gadania, Stephen Staver, Jackie Climo, Melissa Crawford, Chuck, Matthew Wayne Selznick, Dave Slusher of the Evil Genius Chronicles, Mike Conflin, Dorothy Baciocco, John D., Kathy Crawford, Brian Greer, Carrie Whitney, Chuck Tomasi, Chris Foster, Stephen Ing, Clinton of ComedyForecast.com, Vicky DeVries, Mike Wabshall, Twitter user Buttsinggear, a.k.a. Wildcat, Eve Cunning, Mike Hamilton, Gaston Morino, Reed Loveland, and Ivan Asquith. If you'd like to support this show and the other fun content from Saturday Morning Media, become a patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly donation today. You can also tell a friend about the show or leave the show a review on iTunes. So what did you think of the Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician? Would you like to hear more episodes? If so, send an email to hello@SaturdayMorningMedia.com and let us know. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Mysterious Mysteries of Toby Taylor, the Fruit Magician is copyright 2016 Saturday Morning Media, Grant Baciocco, executive producer, all rights reserved. www.SaturdayMorningMedia.com. Elf-Centered is a monthly, completely improvised broadcast from Santa's Village. Join elves Gavin, Beatrice, and Gary as they talk about the latest goings-on from the North Pole. He has a pass to the radio station.
I know, but he's got to go through the security check.
Well, he'll be fine.
Okay.
You know, Gary, drop of a hat, he'll strip down to his jingle shoes.
That's what we're worried about.
Oh.
He's been red-nosed.
Really?
Yes, he has. He has.
Oh, no.
Well,
subscribe to Elf-Centered. Visit elfcenteredshow.com today. You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.